Hey, what's up, guys? Welcome to SJU. Hope you're enjoying your holidays. I think we are. I sure hope so. I'm Joe, Ed, Danielle, Radford.
Hi.
I'm with my buds. Hey.
Hanging out.
So, this is a show we only get to do once every 10 years, and I'm so excited to do it again with the two of you 10 years from now on BrainTube.
BrainTube.
The app that shoots videos into your brain. We're taking a look back at the last 10 years, and we're talking news stories that we think should be movies, and we're gonna pitch them, and we're gonna figure out like what they should be and who should be in them. There are a whole lot of things, a whole lot of horrible things, a whole lot of great things, a whole lot of big things happened the last 10 years. I think the Trump presidency alone could be its own weird dark universe of movies, both in scale and in aptitude.
I want to see the Snyder cut of that.
I think
Why?
Oh.
Why did you do this?
I'm gonna do the rest of the show feeling like I got a pube in the back of my throat. Obviously lots of huge news stories over the past 10 years that could be movies, should be movies, heroes that deserve to be spotlighted, all that good stuff. We're gonna focus a little more on some maybe inspiring stuff, some lighter stuff, some goofier stuff, so that you guys don't get 90 minutes of the three of us just being full of dread, because we are three screen junkies who could give you that. But we're not. Instead, Danielle, what story you want to talk about?
All right, so mine are like newer stories, but they are stories that have tickled me pink. So let me grab my notes here. One of the ones that I want to do is infamous scammer Anna Delvey. Anna Delvey she tricked so many people into thinking that she was this huge foreign-born socialite. It all came crashing down when she was trying to, and I think it's really one of those fake it till you make it. She was really trying to make this like art. She's really trying to make this art foundation happen. And she was traveling all over the world, this place and that. She meets at a party or at a bar this Vanity Fair photojournalist named Rachel, and proceeds to make Rachel her best friend.
Right.
And then takes Rachel around the world with her to these like lavish resorts and, these gorgeous places that only like the tippity top people get to experience, $7,000 a night vistas and places like that. And everywhere she would go, suddenly there would be a problem, like her credit card or whatever. And so she started having Rachel put all of these things on her card, promising that she was going to pay her back. Of course, she never did, and it would be like, oh no, like I lost the $50,000 check I was going to give you. Like, oh no, like I lost this. Oh, the wire is coming through tomorrow, or, checks in the mail. And so she did this for a while until finally Rachel wound up getting in touch with, I believe, the New York authorities, and they were like, oh yeah, we're already on that girl.
Oh, wow.
Like we've been on her.
There were like multiple...
Yeah. Like she is far from the first person that this woman has done this to. And when she would fly out, she would be like, oh, I'm going to fly out this person. It sounds like what she does is she makes a new friend to pay off her old debts and then a next friend to pay off those debts. And it's basically like a friendship Ponzi scheme. Until she could no longer get people to fall for it because she was starting to get too bold and with people who have too much. Don't do that to somebody who works for Variety. Like, they're connected. What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
And so, so that is the story that I want told. I think, for me, I think the best fit for a director would be Sofia Coppola. She is fantastic, and she killed it with Bling Ring. Obviously, we know that she knows how to handle like excess from other things that she has done, and so I think that would be, and also like the love of travel, which is Lost in Translation and different movies. So I think that she would be able to give a really good look at that. I haven't gotten to Anna Delvey yet because one of the great things about her, she's not ugly or plain, but she has that con man's trick.
That you just don't.
Yeah, you just can't. She's like, again, she's pretty, but she doesn't stand out, which is what you want as a con man. And so I'm literally she's Anne. Like, I'm literally trying to think of how I would cast her, and I can't because you do want someone who's able to do that kind of like blank face.
What about the lady? Not the lady who played the lady, the actual lady from that Blood documentary on HBO. that tricked all those dudes out of a bunch of money.
Oh, she's way too. Hi, my name's Elizabeth Holmes.
Well, dude, a scammer playing another scammer. It's just too brilliant.
First,
Scam on scam.
First they tell you no, and then they make fun of you, and then you win.
It just sounds like Batman's
You just need one single drop of blood. It'll do over 450 unique tests.
It's easier for dudes to play the you don't notice them person, because even like movie star looks guys, and I don't know if it's more like studios won't take their leading ladies and stuff and like let them glam down,
right?
But like you can glam down Brad Pitt, you can glam like Matt Damon in Talented Mr. Ripley, like you can like tone Matt, you know, a few clicks down, and the Informant, yeah. I don't know who.
Yeah, that would be. So that was one that I was really struggling with. I think for Rachel, I like Greta Gerwig. I think that would be a really good fit.
That's a good pick.
Yeah.
I think this is a cool story. I think it's super fun. And
I love scam stuff, as you'll see with my second story. So
it's like the headspace you're in. I like the headspace.
I like scammer stuff, man, and this is a good decade for scams.
Yeah, it is, and you know, and just to put some heart in it, make sure that the screenplay gets on the blacklist and stuff like that. It has that integral thing of female friendship.
Yeah.
How valuable and precious that is to you guys. I'm just joking, but like, but you know what I mean? How valuable?
I guess.
Yeah, I guess.
Whatever.
No, I'm not trying to be Robo Man, but like, I get it, and but to abuse that. To abuse that beautiful friendship, the braiding each other's hair friendship, just to abuse that.
And having these like amazing experiences and being told by this person who, for everything that you're being told, is this, you know, world traveling heiress, and to have that person invest in you and say, I am interested in you, I am your bud. And she was paying for everything up until whoever's money she was taking then ran out. Until she had to start using Rachel's money. And Anna even says, you know, when she went on trial, she was like, I'm not sorry. Because she doesn't, in her brain, I think she really did think, if y'all would have let this play out long enough, everyone would have got their money back. I would have had a dope art foundation, and we all would have been living like kings and queens. But no, you had to go be the snitch.
That's weird. That's such like a low stakes Magneto, right? Like that's such a weird, like, I was right and I was doing the right thing.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. I mean, and that's the thing. It's always somebody else's fault with people who scam or people who are narcissists or all that kind of stuff. It's always somebody else's fault. So it's always somebody else's fault I got busted. It's always somebody else's fault that this was wrong in the first place. Why are you acting like this was wrong in the first place? You're just lame. You just don't know anybody. And nobody wants to give you money. You're just jealous. That whole attitude, to be able to live that. An actress could play the hell out of that.
Yeah, that's a fun character to play.
Yeah, I think that'd be a really good. And again, like you said, it's just hard because we don't let actresses not be stunning. So I think that it would be a little harder to find someone who would be able to do it the way that she did it, where it's like, if you look at her, like the way that she's dressed down to the nines, she totally looks like she fits in that world. But if I had to describe her face right now,
you'd be like, woman. Yeah.
There was a nose and two eyes and a mouth.
2 eyes, and it wore clothes.
Yeah.
I remember there were prettiness.
That's the name of the movie. There were prettiness.
There were prettiness.
Ed, what you got?
All right. Well, mine is weird. Okay. I wanted to do the
You wrote notes.
I know.
Yeah, you did.
I wanted to do the Florida Man meme as one of those large, sprawling, Pulp Fiction-esque crime stories.
I'm in. Yep.
You know what I mean? Like, because I'm looking at a few of them, and it's just like, Florida man charged with assault for throwing an alligator through a Wendy's window. You know what I mean? Like, what? You know what I mean? Like, Florida man steals car, realizes a baby is in it, drops baby off safely, gets away. You know what I mean? Like, what precipitated that? What Pulp Fiction-esque, like, I'm in volleyball T-shirts, and we're wearing shorts, and I had to clean blood out of my car, and that's why I'm at the Denny's where I'm at the Waffle House where that fight broke out.
You want to do Florida Magnolia?
Yes, Florida Magnolia.
I love it. Yeah.
Yes. And it's just like one of the. And I was thinking to direct it. Craig Brewer from Dolomite Is My Name.
All right.
Because he did Hustle and Flow, which showed Memphis, I think it was, as like this down and dirty town, from a certain point of view, And I just think he could bring life to stories like a Florida man breaks into jail to hang out with his friends. Like, what precipitated that? You know what I mean?
I missed you so much.
Yeah, you know what I'm saying? Florida man arrested for eating pancakes in a crosswalk. okay, so maybe he was eating pancakes in the crosswalk because his buddy had just stolen a car with a baby in it, and he heroically sacrificed his freedom to let homeboy get away. All these could be all connected. Guy
He just
found
sat
with
down on the road with his pancakes.
dude.
Didn't let
Guy
the cops
found
in.
with dozens of stolen zoo animals in his house. Maybe he lent an alligator to his friend who ends up throwing it through the window at the Wendy's. It's a mind map.
I like this because this
Yeah.
is the kind of thing where you put in like 15, 20 like really talented performers and you've just got a hell of an ensemble.
Oh, hell
already
yeah.
Together.
And all the actors that you want to see dirtied up. Like, I was thinking of like Shia LaBeouf and Joaquin Phoenix playing brothers that blow up alligators or something. You know what I mean?
I
That is
dig it
spot
because
on
like everyone
casting.
comes in and like shoots for a day.
Yeah.
Yeah, does their chapter.
Yeah, so I just think that's excellent. And it's like, if we want to get all producery, movies based on memes is the new way it's going to be, baby.
Yeah, you're not
Wait
wrong.
till you see the Thinking Head Guy show that comes out. You know what
Galaxy Brain.
I mean? Yeah, Galaxy Brain, the show where everybody comes on trying to blow each other's minds. It's like Joe Rogan, and Joe Rogan all trying to blow each other's minds.
I'm gonna tell my kids that this was blank.
Yep.
Oh, that as the movie. So it's like, this is the best one though. This is getting in on the ground floor. This is the
like
Star
it.
Wars
I like
of this
it.
sort of stuff. It's a
Very
strong meme that's always going to be relevant. And again, all those, like you said, cast all great parts for actors to play.
You could do honestly such like a weirdly like touching comedic move. Yeah, I dig
Dude,
this a lot.
Florida man arrested for illegal ride on
This
manatee.
is the Florida project I want to see.
Dude,
Yeah.
illegal ride on a manatee. Florida man can't produce driver's license, shows mixtape instead. There's so
It's like Florida Dazed and Confused, just like everything
dig it.
in and out.
Yeah,
I dig it a lot.
Yep.
Y'all remember those feral hogs?
Oh,
Yes, you
yes,
do.
I do.
The infamous tweet where that guy was like, "You can't take my guns. How else will I fight back against the like 30 to 40 feral hogs that rampage through my yard every 6 to 7 minutes?" I have the sequel, and I very much want to see the movie. The headline is "Feral Hogs Find and Destroy Cocaine Worth $22,000 Hidden in Woods." This is a late entry. This is November 2019. But the more feral, this is the year of feral hogs, and the more information I can get, the better. The more feral hog stories I can get, the better. So this was in an Italian forest, and there was an Albanian gang that was like drug running through here and like stashing drugs and all sorts of like contraband material, and and a bunch of wild boars came through, and like basically as a result like destroyed the cocaine, but also like revealed this whole grand criminal enterprise, and I can't think of a better like Deus Ex Machina than just feral hogs rolling through. Like you've got this perfect crime thing. Like this is The Godfather. If right before he's about to shoot those guys with the gun he got in the bathroom, just a bunch of
Yes.
just like a bunch of pigs run through, like what do you do?
Or like snatched instead of like the Irish travelers, it's just feral hogs.
Yeah, I love the idea of the career criminal who's done nothing wrong, and you sort of turn him into your sympathetic protagonist by like he's done nothing wrong, and then this insane like accident of nature, aka feral hogs, destroys $22,000 worth of cocaine, and now his bosses are gonna kill him unless he comes up with $22,000, and he's like, I did everything that I'm supposed to do, and they're like, well, you didn't think to assume feral hogs would.
If you would have had automatic weapons, then you would have been able to save the cocaine from those feral
that's what
hogs.
this is my like sort of crime / survival story. Is this mafia family turns against one of their own after he fails to assume that feral hogs would destroy all these drugs.
I mean, I think that's pretty awesome. I think you could turn it into sort of a true romance type of thing where the feral hogs steal the cocaine but don't destroy it, so they have to track down the hogs.
It feels like a little. You know what? Actually, no. My next one is Cohen-y to me, but I think this is I don't know. It's a little Taika-ish.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and also that thing that you could never account for, almost like that scene in Goodfellas was like, Karen, why did you do that?
Yes.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Like, feral hogs, why did you do that?
Yeah. Again, a lot of important things happened this decade, you guys, but a lot of those things didn't include feral hogs destroying a $22,000 cocaine stash.
Nothing is that delightful.
No, except for what Danielle's about to say.
Okay, so mine is going to be, I think mine might be a little weird and maybe too meta because I'm a weirdo. I want to do a fictional movie about the twin competing Fyre Fest documentaries. Not about Fyre Fest.
About the doc.
Because that's coming, but because to me, that was the first, I think that was the first shot over the bow for the streaming wars. Because you had Netflix had been, advertising for months that they had this huge Fyre Fest documentary. We were all very excited about it. And then, I think the day before, they're supposed to, Hulu just drops theirs on their service, and it's like, boom, we got Fyre Fest too.
Yeah. This is definitely the volcano Dante's Peak of the streaming wars.
Yes, absolutely.
The Armageddon, Deep Impact, if you will.
Yep.
Absolutely. And so I want to see, and there was more drama behind that because the F. Jerry dudes, who were a huge part of the controversy, and I believe it was the Hulu doc, because they were the ones who were behind all of the marketing that tricked people into coming. They were actually, I believe, they helped produce the doc that happened on Netflix. And so there's some of that. And then obviously there's the stuff with Billy. Some people, one dude was on both documentaries. He was the guy that had the Fyre Fest fraud account that he did both. And then some people were only on one and some people were only on the other. And so that's what I want to see, aside from obviously having all of those people there. I think I would want this written and directed by Adam McKay. I think he's really good at these kind of show things happening as they happen almost in real time, and break it down. And I want for Ja Rule either Daniel Kaluuya or T.I.
Or Ja Rule.
Rule. He's around. For the main dude, Billy, Jon Favreau. For Andy King, who was that poor man who was immortalized in the Netflix series for saying that he was going to take one for the team.
Oh, yeah.
You can Google that. Don't do it at your work computer.
Yes.
I think only Stanley Tucci. I think it's got to be the Tooch. And then poor Marianne Rowley, I believe, the very kind Bahamian lady who got completely screwed because they didn't pay her for all the food and everything. I think Octavia Spencer. And then starring as itself, cocaine.
Yes. As destroyed by feral hogs.
As destroyed.
I like this idea. I think there's something interesting you can do because the cool thing, I think, of the last couple of years is the rise of the documentary. They've gotten really popular again, and so a lot of really cool stuff has come out.
And they're very slick now.
Yeah, they're very slick. But I also think that there is a danger in that we also equate documentaries with news.
Well, and with truth.
Fact and truth.
Right.
And I think there's something really interesting here about, because they're edutainment.
Yeah, absolutely.
And there's something really cool here where you see both of these stories being molded at once, and how probably they were shaped in order to compete with each other and to stand out from each other and to one-up each other a little bit.
And the internal espionage and whatever that happens for you to be able to get the jump on them that quickly. Somebody in that camp blabbed, and they were like, "Oh, I got your Fyre Fest documentary. Let's slap this up real quick."
Meanwhile, even if you don't do the competing ones, I think the competing is a really good idea. But even just the F. Jerry trying to
they exonerate themselves.
Yeah, to exonerate themselves, to decomplicit themselves from Fyre Fest.
We didn't know, and they spent so much of that documentary being well, we're exposing everything now, and we had all this great footage. And
they produced a PR piece for themselves. Yeah,
right, and it's also the culture. Again, I guess I'm over here with the trying to be galaxy brain about the cultural meanings and stuff, but it does say something about all your stories are fake it till you make it. I get that.
Yeah.
I get that. But just we become a culture of fake it till you make it. We've become a culture that doesn't really care about process. It's all about results. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And also we've become this culture that does a bunch of bad stuff and then whistle blows. You know what I mean? It's one thing when you they promote you and all of a sudden you understand where the squids come from, and you understand what aliens are tied up where, and you go, "Oh, I don't know about this," and you blab. But it's another thing when you've been complicit for years, and then you go, "Look at all this terrible stuff."
Right, and then it's also just that the way that they took advantage of the Bahamians is ridiculous. Like, they had all these people and they were like, get more workers, everyone's going to get paid, this is going to be the payday of a lifetime. And they were literally like, they had to, you know, Stanley Tucci, who the guy Stanley Tucci would play, Andy King, was talking about how he had to get smuggled in the back of someone's car because you have all of these people looking for them that they took horrible advantage of. They left that site that they had bought or rented or whatever, they left that an absolute mess. There's just no, you know, and yeah, no one has taken responsibility for it.
And you're also touching on, besides the cultural stuff of all that Galaxy Brain stuff I was talking about earlier, you're touching on the fact that, like, the whole reason for all that luxury is because you're abusing people. The whole reason why all this luxury exists down in those places is because you abuse people and pay them low wages and then set yourself up as kings and let Americans come down and pretend to be kings on the backs of other people. That's the whole reason that exists.
And you know what else this one has? It also has feral hogs, my friend, because remember they have swimming pigs.
Oh,
and
God,
that
you're
was
right.
one of the reasons.
That they didn't expect. Man, Decade of the Pigs.
Dude, and Florida has a
Decade of
lot.
them hogs.
Florida has a lot of feral hogs.
Yeah. They're actually... I read this headline to my wife and she was immediately just straight faced like, they're a problem. My woman grew up in the woods, you know, and she was like, no, they're a problem. Like, you should actually be able to.
It's like talking to a Klingon about tribbles. It's like, that's not a game.
Yeah, that's not a game.
Yeah.
It's not a game.
Don't tell me about this tribble life. Don't tell me.
You don't know.
But yeah, the Fyre Fest thing is interesting because also you've got like this, on top of creating this false narrative for this fake thing that you were building, you also have this this new like fake white collar class that's emerged.
Yeah,
right?
absolutely.
The influencer, the fake, and that was another thing about that. They were so mad that they had to fly commercial, that they couldn't pretend to be big people. They couldn't Instagram from a nice, comfy seat. They were jammed in with other influencers. That was one of the biggest crimes.
Yeah. Well, you've got,
for them.
There's so because I was going a different fake way, like, but that's another layer of fake. Like I almost more like these, almost like what's her name in your first story?
Anna Delvey.
Just the same as her. I think a lot of these like venture capitalists, like Silicon Valley. I mean, what's the difference
They're living
between
off other
most of
people's
them
money,
and her? You know,
and just like scamming their way through and like, oh, well, I'll get this angel investor to pay for this. And then when that's done, we'll get that angel investor to do this. And then once we put more money into the company, then other angel investors will be involved.
We'll hire each other so that we can like find it.
Again, that's what Elizabeth did.
I'm gonna inflate the value of my company.
She got her college professor involved who taught her and introduced her to a bunch of different politicians. And once she started getting people who were pretty high up in the Bush administration, suddenly everyone started wanting to be involved. And
it's a crazy story. Solid pick. Solid pick. Ed, what you got?
I love scams.
Scams.
Okay, now that was meta as hell. Let's double down, baby.
Ooh.
Let's double down and let's join the Mouse Gang.
Yay!
Okay, this is a Mouse Gang pitch.
Mouse gang.
Through and through. I would like to do Kevin, and the logo is the word Kevin written on a hat in Marvel font.
Good.
Okay, kind of like this, baby. And so it's a movie about Kevin Feige as a young upstart nebbishy producer, maybe on the outskirts of Hollywood with a giant dream.
The dream to make Green Lantern.
And then he gets his other. We're going to talk about that. We're going to talk about some of that. And I think in this age of the Irishman and all this stuff, there are certain people who are perfect for parts, and we just got to de-age them. I think Ron Howard would play a great
de-aged Ron Howard.
Kevin Feige. And as he's doing his stories about how he was a young youth, thinking about comic books, thinking about the potential of comic book movies, he's narrating it in that beautiful Arrested Development Ron Howard voice. And you're just in it, man. And you're in it with this guy as he starts as a PA and he messes up his first meatball sandwich. We could go that macro. Or we could go right with him being a young producer on a lot and he's just got this big idea and everybody's like, just shut up and do, Swamp Man 5 or whatever the hell he's supposed to be working on. But he's got this dream the whole time. And even when he gets in as a producer, he has to try to convince this giant conglomerate that's kind of risk averse. Disney could do to make themselves look a little risk averse and then prove to be faithful to an artist's vision, right? That's how Disney can play themselves, right?
Yeah.
They're just like, I don't know. All right, we'll give you the full go ahead. We'll let you use uninsurable actors. We'll let you use dudes who did a Prel commercial. I'm so old.
Well, there's always that hope, right? That like story. I think there's so many people Kevin Feige is definitely one of the top 5 of people. These are the stories you want to hear, and there's always the hope that like they won't be the ones telling them. So you won't get like a Bohemian Rhapsody where it's like none of us did any of the beers.
Oh no, it was just all him, and we were all going home at 8 o'clock at night so we could be with our wives.
Oh yeah,
because I think there's an awesome story to tell.
Well, dude, but that's the thing. It's done in the style of that Imagineering. Oh, we're just gonna stroke each other for 2 hours, but it's directed by Lord and Miller. So you get this comedic take.
You get that feel, but you sort of like break the structure a little bit.
Yeah, you break the structure a little bit. You do a little bit of an unreliable narrator stuff sometimes. You do a little bit of cutting to the real world.
It's almost a movie that definitely like knows exactly what.
Exactly, and it could be, again, not trying to be Galaxy Brain, but it's almost like a parody. Obviously, it's a parody of that Imagineering stuff. The self-stroking studios do those fake packages they put on the ends and the beginnings of DVDs, where it's just like, like you said, oh, we all got along, and my Hawkman suit didn't.
I'd be fine if like just to like make sure you could tell the story you want, you call it Calvin, and it's like it's just different enough. Calvin Feige.
Calvin Feige of Marvelous.
Of Marvelous Pictures. Yeah.
Marvelous Pictures.
I dig it.
And Dan Lee.
And Dan Lee.
Yep.
All right. Here's my other one. I went full crime, but very small scale, small stakes crime. So I also just love this story, and I think this is a Coen Brothers movie. Authorities in Louisiana say a woman who worked at a medical clinic has been arrested for selling fake doctor's notes to high school students so that they can get out of class. That's it. That's the crime. I love the idea of taking something very small and amplifying it up very big. Like, what is the Breaking Bad level?
Well, that's what I said. This is like Breaking Medium.
Yeah.
But maybe it's a bigger.
For her, it's huge.
Yeah. No, it's like Can You Ever Forgive Me? That one with Melissa McCarthy, where she was writing false letters that were supposed to be from great authors of the past. Right. But she was just so smart, she could approximate their voice. She can approximate, a
doctor's and also,
voice.
We don't pay teachers very much, and a lot of times they do wind up having to buy supplies for their kids out of like their own things. And look, them little bad kids wouldn't go to class anyway. So, like, go ahead and take their money.
How do you approach, like,
they were $20 each?
Like, I don't want to guess demonetized, but there are different ways to buy different substances and things. Okay, and they're different, hey man, are you cool? How do you approach your teacher for something like that? Or how do you approach a student?
Right.
How do you pick the student that you know is malleable?
She worked at the medical clinic, so she was just like spreading the word. Like that's your awesome inciting incident. Like, this lady like needs money. I think she's played by Frances McDormand. And I think like there's one day where she's just like, this is a way I could get $20, like, hey, all right, some kid's like, I don't want to go, and she's like, I'll write you a note on a prescription pad, and like then it's bored.
And the score goes dum, dum, dum.
Yeah, and then eventually she's like full like I am Ozymandias. Yeah. I think
How come all the kids are getting so sick all of a sudden?
I know what's going on.
The CDC comes down and like, hey, this is an outbreak.
It's all balanced on like the doctor's not finding out, right? So she's just like eventually just doubling down on the lie, and I think it'd be super. That's a Coen thing.
Dude, this is a very scammy show we've made.
Very scammy show.
Because the
Absolutely
scams
very scammy show.
Those are the funny scams.
Yeah, these are the fun scams, not the real hurtful, awful scams. Hey. You know who's never been hurtful or awful to me? You two. Aww. And I'm so glad I've known you for 10 years. I think I have. Ooh.
Yeah.
Actually.
I think so. Well, hey, you guys enjoy your holidays. Hey. I hope you guys are enjoying them. I hope you guys have been enjoying all the pre-tapes we've been doing. Before we get out of here, we want to make sure that we are calling out to, it's November. What are we calling out to right now? Big Brothers. Yes. Big Sister, sorry, we're pre-taping for November and December today. My brain is everywhere. We've got links in the bottom to Big Brothers, Big Sisters. Make sure you check them out. See how you can get involved. It's an amazing organization. They need you. You need someone to go hang out and watch movies with. It's a match made in heaven. You all enjoy your Thanksgiving or just your days off or whatever. Thanks for hanging out. Bye.